You notice that election, every youth was involved, tried to, market Obi without money. That election was very easy for Obi. I observed that there are some youths in my own unit that when we were trying to canvass, they will say, no, we don't care about money, our vote is for Obi. They use their own personal data to send messages, sending billboard posters, campaigning online for this man. Even some, he doesn't even know, they have never met them. And some of the things Obi was seeing on the line, he was not aware of them. This is not the leaders that make it very expensive to run an election. It's the youth. As I'm leaving this building and I meet any youth, if some youth know I'm here, they will gather outside and be waiting for me. They will shout, honorable, please drop. And by the time you refuse to drop, this is the consequences. They will go out there and be telling people it's not looking for anything. Another thing is that we cannot easily forget that before now, actually, educated people were not in politics.
Wait. You say educated people were not in politics.
Before now.
So are you saying our heroes past were not educated?
How many professors have contested for president in this country that you are aware of? Of course, to become a governor, you have even seen the scandal today that when someone is a governor, you'll be hearing issue of forged certificate. He forged. You are hearing it today. In fact, President Trump may even messed up when you want to make certain pronouncements.
Okay, so let's say for example,
I have been in a function where the Chief Justice of this federation spoke, and after I left that function, I watched it, what was reported, and the speech that I was watching was far different from what was said. Electronic voting, yes, but you and I know that there are still some villages that don't have network.
Definitely.
There are some villages in Adamawa State that are
not seen.
There are still some villages that are wearing leaves. That electronic voting system, if it's introduced as now, without alternative, it will disenfranchise a number of persons. The only thing that stands between anybody and the future is crime.
Welcome to Youth in Politics. My name is Elliot Cassandra Erika.
And my name is Ipo Elijah MC Network. And ladies and gentlemen, here with me in the studio is a legal practitioner, and he is the current chairman MBA Auchi branch and the chairman Nigeria Youth Council, chairman aspirant in Etako West Local Government Area Council under the platform of APC. And he has over 20 years of experience in the legal profession. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Barrister Mark Afaleokhai. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you, Barrister.
Thank you.
So here is a quick one. I would want to know, what do you think about youth involvement in politics and governance generally?
Well, like our forefathers, we met the say. They kept telling us that youth, they are the leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah.
And actually, that leadership is about politics. And when you look at the way the politics is, it's good to have youth to be deeply involved in politics for so many reasons. And because if we are not involved as youth, most of the decisions that are being taken, even in the political level, they have more bearing on the youth. They affect the youth more than those who are, let me put it, I don't know whether to call them elders, but the policies of today, whether in Nigeria, whether in Africa, whether in the world, it has more effect on the youth than any other person. It is on that note that I think personally that youth has to wake up and be involved deeply in the activities that shape their future. So I think, but what we have is quite different as of today. So we don't have much youth in politics, and which is very discouraging. Sorry.
Okay. Sir, you said we don't have much youth in politics, and which is discouraging. How do you involve youth in politics? How do you tell you to go into politics? How do you support them? How do you push them to go into politics?
Well, the one thing about politics is it has interest. Politics is interest-based because even by the definition, it's interest. It's interest-shaped. So it is very, very difficult to push anyone into it if you don't have the required interest. The only thing that the proper thing to say is to try to see how the society can motivate the youth to be involved in politics. Because if the interest is not there, it becomes a body to the person who is asking you to enter. Because the body, in the sense that the person that is pushing you to go into politics, one way or the other, will have the arrow. Because it will always be the person has to be blamed at every particular time, because you don't even have the required energy to push. And politics is about pushing, because there is a lot of discouraging factors. That when you are not determined, if you are not by yourself determined that you want to go into it, of course, it will be very difficult. So it is on that basis that I think that we should find a way of bringing in some of the programs to encourage youth. And one thing that is again certain is that one has to see the reason why they should join politics. And the politics of today, there are a number of factors, like I said, that mitigate against the youth. There are so many factors in it that if care is not taken, even when you go in, you will not get to anywhere before you start backing out.
Okay.
Mr. Barrister, by burden, were you talking about finance?
Yeah. Finance is one of the factors. When you look at today politics, if you are very observant and if you are following, you will discover that most of the people who are into politics, the financial body is too high. It's too high. And not as if the youths are not in politics, but when you look at the origin of those youths, you discover that they are still youths from a very wealthy homes whose parents have been into politics, that I also try to encourage them to go in by bringing out the finance. And again, the major factor that is really discouraging the youth from going into politics is also the youth. Themselves.
Okay.
Yes, it's also the youth themselves.
How do you mean?
So I'm saying so because, once you are into politics, you discover that the amount that you spend on a daily basis, you'll be wondering if you are not having a very good job, you will not be able to go. You can imagine myself, I'm a politician. You can imagine I'm in a fuel station to buy fuel. So someone will meet me at the station and say, luckily I've met you now, my tank will be filled. And the person will be very serious.
Yes.
And when you look at it, it's a youth. You look at it because you're in politics, you should now service him financially. So by ourselves, we try to disabuse our minds from, let's reduce the body that is involved. It will be very, very difficult for the youth to get involved. And some of the youths too, when they see you in politics, they just quickly get the idea. Phantom this idea that this man has money, so let's see how we can exploit him.
So, sir, as a member of the APC government, or as a member of the APC, how will you rate the APC governance since inception? How will you rate them?
When you say since inception, I don't know what you mean. Because
Okay.
APC has been, even from ACN to APC since 1999, that we have democracy. This the one that we are practicing now. APC has been. So when you say, I don't know.
Okay, I mean, how will you rate them since they took over power? From the governor to the presidency.
Okay, let me just try to understand your question to mean presidency, because in Edo State, I can remember that is the government of Adams Alioshomole that actually took over from the PDP.
Yes.
Which was a long time ago. And it was Buhari that took over from Goodluck Jonathan, so which was also a quite number of time. But if you look at it, I would say that APC has performed very well, particularly under this current administration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I understand that where you rate the government through the economic policies, you will understand that even the foreign countries, they are giving Nigeria some kind of respect that has not been there for quite some time. Because the policies that Asiwaju has put in place we are still running his first tenure. We are talking about running 3 years now. We can see that while the man comes in, it's like going to the top to start walking down. And you will testify that some of the hardship that has been when he took over governance in 2023, they are no longer like that. I could still remember as at that time, the economy that we run has not actually favored any attrition, because what we have an economy that is based purely on oil. So, and when the man touched that aspect by removing the subsidy, and people are wondering, as at that time, you could remember that you were buying fuel at the rate of 1,500. But today, the price is stable. And everything. I was equally surprised during December. I had some money in my hand. I wanted to buy rice for some bags of rice. So I calculated my expenses to be 110,000 or thereabout per bag. On getting to the shop, I was told that the bag of rice is 54,000. So you could see that things are coming down. So I'm sure that before the second tenure, everything will stabilize. Now coming to Edo State, within the period that the current governor has taken over, we can see another aspect of development, and you can compare it by yourself with what was happening before he came in during the period of the last administration of Governor Obaseki. So I think APC are doing well. What matters is that the policies are good, and with time, they will exhibit, you will see them everywhere, and things will normalize.
So, sir, that brings me back to the previous question I asked. I'm all about the finance. Who knows? Maybe I might want to run for a president. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, I was talking about the cost of living, the cost of running an election, about the youth. I mean, a lot of youth will want to go into politics and running up, but the expensive, it's really, really expensive. I mean, what do you think can be done? How can we reduce the cost of election in Nigeria?
That is a very good question. The truth of the matter is that it ought not to be. If we have proper mentality, it ought not to be.
So if you not get money, you no come.
No, it ought not to be. That is what I mean. If we had proper mentality, there's one particular election I want to use as an example. Like I said earlier, the youth themselves, they are the cause of this exorbitant electoral process. The youth themselves. Because if we want to encourage ourselves into politics, there are a number of ways we can do that. I want to bring in the election, the last 2023 election, on one aspect. That last 2023 presidential election, on one aspect, which is the aspect of Peter Obi.
Okay.
You notice that election, every youth was involved, tried to, market Obi without money.
Yes.
Okay.
That election was very easy for Obi. And I could remember in our polling unit, some of us who are always try to, canvass for our political party, even during elections, I observed that there are some youths in my own unit that when we were trying to canvass, they will say, no, we don't care about money. Our vote is for Obi. They use their own personal data to send messages, sending billboard posters, campaigning online for this man. Even some, he doesn't even know they have never met them. And some of the things Obi was seeing on the line, he was not aware of them. So youth came out. They were not interested in money. They were just interested in seeing Obi in the presidency, which make it possible that election, the cost can be reduced. If we have the mindset that, look, this person, we want performance and we want to reduce this cost. We want to encourage you to call me. Any youth that we see, let's say I can assist. But now, I want to assure you that when you are coming into politics now, particularly when, I don't know how to put it, but some of the youth will just make it very, very unbearable. It's not the leaders that are making it too expensive. Too expensive. It's not the leaders.
Okay.
There are a number of leaders. I'm an aspirant.
Okay.
As I speak, I'm aspiring to the Esako West local government seat.
Congratulations.
In an election that is coming up June next year. There are some leaders you will go to. They will tell you, no, don't give me anything. No, don't worry. Let us see. Which means it's not the leaders that make it very expensive to run an election. It's the youth. As I'm leaving this building and I meet any youth, if some youth know I'm here, they will gather outside and be waiting for me. They will be shouting, Honorable, please drop. By the time you refuse to drop, this is the consequences. They will go out there and be telling people it's not looking for anything. So with that, you force yourself, whether you have money or not, you force yourself and be doing things for them to be shouting. So until we disabuse our mind completely from that, I don't think it will be easy for nobody to run an election. When I mean that, I want to also cite a particular example in that 2023 election. The man that is currently occupied the Senate in Edo South, that man was not having anything. He was not even too sure if he can win a councillor. He was a tricycle, an era boy. But he was a placeholder in a ticket in Labour Party. He was in his home. No, that man did not campaign. But he won the election, which means it's possible to run an election without money if the youth have the right mindset.
So, you said you're an aspirant of the Itako West Local Government Area Council. So, what have you done, or what do you intend to do if you've been voted in to power?
I hope this is not a manifesto. But the truth of the matter is that as a youth, I have a burden. I have a burden that if a youth is given an opportunity to lead and it does not perform, the body is this. I feel that it's going to be difficult for another youth to get the same chance, because people will say, that the one we gave chance the other day, he read it. Now, I have a lot of programs which I may not be able to disclose here now, because when I can tell anybody that I'm the youngest service chairman of MBA, both national and local, of a branch, that manage a branch. And when I was contesting for that election, I made promises to the lawyers in Edo North, and I assured them that if I'm voted, I will take care of their welfare, I will give them a bar house, and there are a number of promises I make to them. But there's something that occurred to me that if I do not fulfill those promises, it's going to be difficult. But you can ask anybody today. I was able to do that, and the bar is happy, everybody is happy, just because I want another young lawyer to come up tomorrow for them to give him a chance. And I know, I'm very sure, convinced that there are a number of things that one can do as a youth where you have the right mindset.
So talking about keeping promises, we've had a situation where an aspirant, if he's looking for a position, he made promises. Like we have a situation during the Edo State's governorship election, where the current governor, the voted governor rather, said he's going to help Edo State with security. But we are not having that, because in Edo State we are having the aspect of security is something I think they are lacking. So what do you have to say about that, sir?
Well, I don't think that is a fair promise, because since I've been in Edo State, I've not actually seen a governor that has paid too much attention to security than this current governor. I'm saying this because I remember within the first few months that the governor assumed office, you can see the e-logs, the security vehicle that the governor invested on the police, the army, and even the vigilantes. There are bikes, and each of these vehicles, none of them is more than 45 million. Each of those vehicles that you see around the police are using. But I think that is an attempt to encourage the security outfit to take the issue of security seriously. And I'm very convinced that if you even look at it, there are so many gadgets the governor invested in the security. So he has invested so much. And again, there is still time. He's putting up some plans to ensure that things work very well. But like it is, each of the states have these security challenges, but the way and manner each of the states is handling it is different. One cannot actually tell me that the security in Zamfara, for instance, Edo State is worse than Zamfara. One cannot tell me Edo State is worse than Sokoto. So the government is really doing well in terms of security, and I think it should be given much time.
So because it's not worse than Zamfara, do you think we are safe? Do you think it's okay?
That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying we are safe. I'm saying that there is effort is being made. That is what is important. You see, this issue of security is a kind of collaborative venture. It is not only for the government alone, but at times there are things we do too. Each citizens to also encourage the security outfits to function very well. Local government has a role to play. The state has a role to play. The federal government has a role to play. Even the citizens have a role to play in the aspect of security. But what I'm saying now is that I think the governor deserves more.
Okay, sir, as a member of the APC, what are the achievements that the APC what are the things that the APC have achieved that you are proud of and you can say, okay, yes, this is what the APC government has achieved?
The question seems to be very broad. In Edo State or in Nigeria?
Yeah, okay, let's talk about Edo State. Let's talk about Edo State, because talking about our road, the road from Auchi to Benin, still the road is just the way it is.
Basically getting worse by the day.
Basically getting worse. And during rainy season, some drivers will charge you more because of the roads are bad.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, when you talk about the road, I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember before the current government in Edo State came in, it was practically impossible to move within Ekpoma axis. Practically impossible to move within Ekpoma axis. But when you are going to Ekpoma now, from going to Benin, in fact, from Ekpoma to Benin is a very good road now.
So what road are you talking about?
From Ekpoma to Benin.
Okay, from Ekpoma to
Benin. It's practically.
So what about those?
Ekpoma.
What about those from Auchi to?
Now, that is what I mean, that everything cannot happen a day. It has to be gradual. We have to first of all give credit that the roads from Ekpoma, something serious. There is serious job being done on that houses. And there are contractors who are handling this project face by face. So I think that with time, the other side of it.
This time, how long do we have to wait?
The government is just, I'm not a spokesperson in the government anyway, but I'm just a member of the APC. But the government is just few years in office. And you can even see that the appointment are still on.
So, sir, you said the governor has given out gadget vehicles and all that. But why are we not seeing them in place? Why are we not seeing them working?
Of course, they are. Me, I've seen them. Maybe you don't come out often. I think okay,
sir, can you give
most of the security outfits, even this when I was coming here, and I think 2 of those vehicles, I passed them on the road.
Talking about the road, you said the governor, he commissioned tractors.
Yes, I said apart from the road, it is known, it has been on media, you watched it. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, the governor also treated equipment for each of the 18 local government. And when you even talk about the X sector, the governor is working on that aspect. Before now, flowing from the past administration, you can go to public schools, there were no teachers. This current administration are employing numbers of teachers in those schools. So it's touching every aspect already within the shortest time. So I'm sure that before this term, everybody will see that the work.
Okay, sir. Do you think the voting age should be lowered to 16 in Nigeria to encourage youth participation?
Well, that is a very good question. The idea behind having 60 years as a benchmark for voting age is just because that will enable for a child to be 60 years, you should be able to now decide for yourself. You should be able to know the reason why you are voting for a particular candidate and why you prefer one candidate than the other. Now, there's nothing wrong with reducing the age, but I think that the purpose of that age may have been defeated, because what we have already is that even the one within that 60 years of age, of course, it is still very difficult for you to have a choice. You see how people that will tell you, go here, just vote. You just vote without knowing.
Don't know when.
You don't even know why you are voting. So I think if it's even reduced below that, it may be worse. It will now place the power in the hand of people that have the highest population, either they can manipulate it to any level they want. Because the younger population may not be able to even decipher that this is what we want, this is why we should vote, and this is why we should not vote. I think the age is okay, because that is, even right now, there are laws that are even regulated that you have to be 16 years before you enter investing. So I think that is, to me, it's still very good to maintain that bracket.
Okay, sir. So what's the way forward for every Nigerian youth
In terms of
cost of living? Because most time the cost of living is high, and it's really affecting. That's what pushes some of these young boys to do things that are not proper, that are illegal. So how will you advise a youth on the cost of living, on what to do?
First, I don't think that the cost of living has anything to do with the way youth behaves. So it's a matter of choice and principle. So I want us to get that right, because whatever crime is prevalent today in the society has nothing to do with the cost of living. As a matter of fact, it has added to hardship and the way people are living their lives. Now, talking about the cost of living, one thing that is affecting us as a nation, to me, is that Nigeria, for instance, is the highest number of citizens of this country, the highest are youth. They are youth. Now, most of those youth, just like we have in other countries, most of those youth, though everybody is struggling for himself, to fend for himself. But I also think that, the kind of economy that we run in this country is equally responsible for that.
Yes.
Because that aspect of white-collar job, that one must work in the government established, one must work with biro. I think this has also added so much to why the cost of living, you can see majority of youths are not having jobs. But recently, during the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, I saw the man making serious effort to diversify the economy. From there, I saw my father in the village. I goes to the village. I want to give him money. He'll be telling me, don't worry, I have a lot of money with me, because he has sold some foodstuff and farm items. And recently too, you notice that even the economy has so much affected all aspects of our life to the effect that you can even see a weather now having a very good house. But I think everybody should find a way to get himself engaged in one thing or the other to push this economy. Because recently, if you, as you are sitting down here now, if you go out there and you are looking for somebody that will help you do maybe manual job, or maybe you want a organizer, all those things, they are very difficult to find. They don't even have an apprentice anymore. But I think it's even better from the way I'm looking at this. Maybe in the near future, if we are not trying to also educate ourselves that money is everywhere, it's not in particular trade. Money is not found in particular trade. You can be selling akara, you make it until we get ourselves engaged. I think that is the only way we can do to mitigate.
So when you were saying, you said the governor has done so much in the education sector. So talking about education, what's the role? How can education help the youths that are going into politics?
Well, the education will not actually have a way of FPD. That is where I started it from earlier. Because even when you go to investing, there's a course there they call political science. That does not mean that everybody that read that course will be in politics. But what they teach there is politics. So politics is about the interest that you have in it. Well, maybe we should start developing interest in politics. And maybe we should start having interest in it. And another thing is that we cannot easily forget that before now, actually, educated people were not in politics. educated people, they were not there. What you had there is because people think that politics is a dirty game. That
So
is,
wait. You
that's
say
a-
educated people were
Yes.
not in politics.
Before
So
now.
are you saying our heroes past were not educated?
That is not what I mean. Now, let me tell you something that you want to understand. How many professors have contested for president in this country that you are aware of? Our heroes past you are talking about, we are in the First Republic, men who used their education to fight for independence for this country. People like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, and Herbert Macaulay, all of them, they were in the schools. They saw what was happening to us, the way our colonial masters were treating us. They were using their education to fight for the freedom of this country. Those are the men, the initial educated men that were actually in politics. Thereafter, you will notice from 1979, the military started taking over. And when military took over the politics, of course, there were a series of coups and the rest. No, from 1960 till 1979 that Shehu Shagarina came in, and that regime did not last. They took over again until 1999. It was 1999 that we can say we have experienced real democracy that has lasted till today. And let me remind you that when you look at it then, what I mean that the re-educated men were not in politics, come to the grassroots. Of course, to become a governor, you have even seen the scandal till today that when someone is a governor, you'll be hearing issue of forged certificates, a forge. You are hearing it today. Because you cannot see a real professor who was coming in, because the way people classify politics as at that time is that politics is a dirty game. It is now that you can see some youths who are having re-education and coming into politics, and it's still very difficult because when you look at it, there are certain things that will happen that will make you start thinking, why back out? And a man that is not having that knowledge that you have, we don't want to back out, irrespective of the level of dirty ways or the trumps that will be thrown at you. Okay. The highest educated person on the stage can make any kind of mistake.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so talking about mistake, the same setting
in
of
fact,
question could not
President Trump may even messed up when you want to make certain pronouncements.
Okay, so let's say, for example, that same certain governor could not pronounce a proper amount of figure.
It's the same thing. Have you ever stood somewhere to address a crowd? Have you ever done that?
Yes, sir.
At what stages? If it's to a school, let me tell you something. It's not everybody. It is something that one has to manage over and over again. That is why every president of a great nations like Americans, Britain, the first president, if you are just applied newly, you may have to undergo series of training to be able to make the first speech.
Okay, sir.
So it's not
you are saying this certain governor could not handle the crowd.
That is not what I mean. That is not what I mean. I'm saying anybody other than the same circumstances can make the same.
Okay, because if you're saying
at a time, I have had difficulty making pronouncement of etc. You see one thing. I have gone to the situations have made all of us to know that it is not everything you see on social media that is actually correct.
Yeah.
It most often, in fact, I have been in a function where the Chief Justice of this federation spoke. And after I left that function, I watched it. What was reported and the speech that I was watching was far different from what was said.
So you're saying
So what I'm saying is that it is not all the time that we believe what we see on social media.
Okay, sir. So that brings me back to the question I asked about the voting sector. Do you or are you in support of the electronic voting system?
It's a good thing. It's innovations, but honestly speaking, to be frank with you, between you and I, we are not matured. We are not mature at all. We don't have the power to go into that yet.
A country of 60 years plus?
No, it is not about a country. Let me give you an instance. You see, Zoom is something you can use, right? Between you and your friend, anywhere. You can see each other. You use it for a meeting. But there are certain situations where in a serious meeting, Zoom will fuck up the entire meeting. You will see that the network will be so poor, will be bad. And electronic voting, yes, but you and I know that there are still some villages that don't have network. Are you going to disenfranchise those villages because they don't have? When I say we are not mature yet, I'm telling you that we don't have the requirement yet. There are people, there are old women, there are old men, there are a number of villages, they are not educated, they don't even know anything about phone. What will you say to them when you are introducing electronic voting system?
Okay, sir.
Are you telling me, are you telling me that because it's not electronics, you will disenfranchise them, which constitutionally they are entitled to vote? So when you are introducing a concept, you should not look at, there is Hauchi, yes. There are other villages that you don't know about. There are villages that you need to use canoe to paddle to get to that place. And when they've not still see motor car. For us, how do you conduct voting in an electronic system in such villages?
So, are you saying in this 21st century that there are some villages that have not seen a car?
You don't believe that?
In Edo State?
No, you don't. When you talk about electronic voting, you are not limiting it only to Edo State.
Definitely.
There are some villages in Adamawa State that have
not seen
there are still some villages that are wearing leaves.
In Nigeria.
In fact, have you heard about, I don't want to mention name. It's unbelievable, but it's true.
So what makes you think they have voters card to vote in the first place?
That is another question. The truth of the matter is that because it's manual, because any village in this country fall under a senatorial zone, which fall under rep and even a constituency, federal constituency, or state constituency, or a local government. For instance, if I am aspiring to contest for House of Assembly of Edo State or a local government, let me use the word House of Assembly because it's closer, then I have to be sure that each village within my constituency is registered to pull out a number of votes. So that method has still be working for every constituency in this country.
So why can't the electronic method work?
So if that I can conduct a manual voters register for them, does not mean that I'll be able to have the power to go and insert a mask to give them network.
Okay, so we have situation where during the election, people are they call them polling units. So are you trying to say that some person where they have network, okay, now this place network day, okay, now here we go fit for votes. You do your normal voting then. Are you saying it can work?
Do you see the Electoral Act? Do you see the provisions of the Electoral Act? Have you taken your time to go through what the Electoral Act is saying? It captured the situation where there are places that does not have network.
So
why don't manually?
Okay.
Yes.
So if there are places that don't have network, why don't network provider, the federal government send network provider to make sure that there is network there so that people can vote?
That is another topic altogether. Because the truth of the matter is that the privatization has privatized privatized even the telecommunication sectors, the communication sectors and all that. So if you want to invest, if an investor have interest, until recently my community very close here does not have MTN network.
That's bad.
Iyuku here is
What
just
community?
Iyuku, yes. Until recently, I was even shocked last week. I went to my village. I was able to make calls. Until recently, I'm just telling you, an open community like Iyuku does not have MTN network. So not to talk of places like Ate. I'm still telling you within.
So if they don't have MTN network, definitely that's how we have other.
And you and I know that. You and I know that those network provider to insert a mast is to calculate the number of gains that will come through that mast. And you use that to, it's a business,
Definitely,
so
that's
the federal government cannot, it's not the one providing or the state government providing this network because it's privatized. So that is what you should know. But what is important, what I want us to understand is that electronic voting system, if it's introduced as now, without alternative, it will disenfranchise a number of persons. A lot of persons. And that
So
is
are you saying this because some people cannot see ballot balls because of some people will ring the election, or some people will not be able to ring the election? Is that why you're saying this?
No, we have long passed the age of stealing of ballot paper.
But sir, it happened.
No.
Okay.
You see, in a program like this, it's for the public education.
Definitely.
We've long passed that age with the introduction of beavers. Now, the issue of ballot paper no longer arises because the accreditation process has completely eliminated any ballot paper anybody could possess, because once you have it, it's useless in your hand by beaver, because the accreditation is no longer done manually. You have a way of doing the accreditation through electronic means, but with a card you have to do your thumbprinting and the vote is
And
counted.
everything. All right. Thank you so much, sir. So in general, and to crown it all up, what do you have to say about the youth?
Okay.
Just some words of advice.
Well, my advice, you see, for the youth, you see, politics is a very interesting game. And I'm urging every youth to, as much as possible, get involved one way or the other, whether by contesting or whether by supporting. Because, like I said earlier when this program was commencing, that the decision in politics affect majority of youth. The decision, in fact, the policies are youth-based policies. Now, if you look at it now, my father wouldn't mind about this light. Because he would just be okay with that local
Small candle, lighter.
Today, I can't see you like someone that want to stay without AC now. Yeah, you see the issue. So, but if we have constant electricity, you will be free to say yes, you enjoy what you have. So I think when we have more youth in politics and we have youth participation in politics, the youth will be able to push through their agenda, their point. I think that is it.
Oh, thank
All right,
you so much for your time and your insights. And
please, before we go, sir, what is the future for every Nigerian youth? What is the future for every Nigerian youth?
Right. The future. Well, the future to every Nigeria, I think Nigeria is going to be greater. Nigeria is going to be great. You know, we are getting this gradually. We are getting it and we are going there. You see, the future will be great for every youth who desire to be involved. And it is on this note I equally want to also say this, that the only thing that stands between anybody and the future is crime. The only thing that stands between you and the future is just crime. Because when you get yourself involved, it can pay manually, initially, but anytime anything happens, your future blinks from there. So when we sit ourselves down and say, okay, let's make this work, I think the youth will be the better off.
okay. So thank you so much for the time and the insight you've shared. It was so pleasant having you here.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
wish there would not be anything like this because I want to stay here. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And my name is Elliot Cassandra Erika.
And my name's Siriman Ipo Elijah MC Network.
This is on Support Without Boundaries. See you
Youth
next time.
in politics.